Greetings, travelers.
Greetings, travelers.
That almost looked professional. I was very happy with that.
I would not. No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go that far, Mark.
Really?
But it is Jinky July. I'm so excited about this. Jinky's July.
We were trying to come up with something fun for July after Jump Scare June and Alien April and all that. So I liked Monster May. That was my favorite. But Jinkies July. We've got a lot of just crazy stuff going on this month, so it fit.
So for this month's travels, though, we are going to be at Smoky Mountain Bigfoot at the end of the month, which I think is July 27th in Gatlinburg. So it should be super duper fun. I'm excited about that. So travelers, if you want to come see us, Mark and Erika, because I keep ducking out of events whenever possible. Just kidding. But Erika will be at Smoky Mountain Bigfoot. So if you want to come to Gatlinburg and say hi and meet us in person, you can do that.
And we had a blast at Small Town Monsters this week at Monster Fest 2 up in Canton, Ohio. So that was amazing. We had so much fun with that. Thanks, Seth Breedlove and his whole team for having us up there. We had a grand time. And looking forward to future ones with you guys. So
yes, and I'm excited because I'm going to go to the next one and not have something come up at the last moment. Well, one can hope. I'm never going to just say that for realsies. But with that, we actually have some breaking news.
We have breaking news.
This episode is actually being recorded live, so it's super exciting. So there were apparently some researchers who went to Alcatraz to build a 3D model to watch the erosion, because some of you may not know this, but Alcatraz is an island that kind of sits right off San Francisco. And so obviously erosion can happen. But apparently while they were there, super duper spooky things were happening to them the entire time, and they're all going, yep, it's haunted, it's haunted. So the scientists are like, yeah, it's haunted. So we'll include that article link in the show notes. But
that's very stone tape, because I showed you a little bit of stone tape where they were scientists working on one thing and then stumble on a ghost. So it's pretty cool.
Apparently several, because they stayed there for 3 weeks. So just in case anybody's wondering, I am noping out of that, just if anybody wants to ask. Nope. So
there's a good comment. Science is just a belief. You're right, Stephanie.
Lies and slander. Okay. Today, though, we're going to do listener tales. So we're going to read live listener stories that have been sent to us that we're going to read live.
Yeah, we get these via email from you all. You guys have been sending us some, even since day one, we've been getting stuff. And this has been incredible. And this is definitely some of our more popular episodes. People love these. And every time we go out and we go to an event, somebody's like, oh, I can't wait for more listener tales. So thank you for sending them to us. So if you want to send us ones in the future, go to the EerieTravels.com website. There's a contact us link. You can send them right there, or you can just email mark@EerieTravels.com or any of our messaging boards or Facebook or any social media. You can find us.
Okay, Mark, I'm going to let you kick us off since words are hard for me today. Where are we beginning?
Let's go. Well, let's read the first one. So, greetings, travelers. Hey, greetings. I was packing up my booth after meeting you all at Smoky Mountain Terror, and my spidey sense tingled. There, about 5 car lengths away from me, stood a man, staring at me, unblinkingly, staring. I memorized him in an instant, and then continued packing. He stared at me, on and on, just staring.
I don't like any of this. No. How did you just keep going? I wouldn't know. Anyway,
we're starting off strong here. So whenever I feel uneasy, I get very calm and very purposeful. My movements become efficient, not wasting a step. I did not look at him again, but kept him in my peripheral. That's good. That's good. I was done quickly. Yes, he was still staring. I got in, locked the doors, and started the engine. As I drove towards the exit, he turned and was gone. I was worried that he'd follow, so I took evasive maneuvers as I'm extremely familiar with the area. No one followed me. I feel weirdly like I dodged a bullet, maybe. I don't want to overstate it, but just yuck. Then when I got home, I swear I saw the same man on the street corner outside. I immediately called the police. By the time they came, he had gone. I don't think this is supernatural, but I woke up from a nightmare a short while after getting to bed, and I swore I saw him in my hallway. Needless to say, but I'm inviting my boyfriend over for a few weeks and telling him to bring his dog and his gun. Stay safe, y'all. Kira.
Wow, Kira. Yeah, humans can definitely be scarier than cryptids, but let me just say, if he was in your hallway and he's unblinking, like that's like all the makings of a horror movie, is what
right? I'm
like,
sitting there going,
all of them.
Blumhouse is going to be reaching out to you and buying your screen rights.
I would love to know if this continues, Kira. That's what I want to know is, regardless of the boyfriend and the dog and the gun, which I'm thumbs up for all of that. I want to know if this continues. So Kira, please, please, please let us know. And it was wonderful meeting you at Smoky Mountain Bigfoot.
Yeah, Smoky Mountain Terror.
Smoky Mountain Terror, that's what I meant.
We're going to Smoky Mountain Bigfoot at the end of the month. I know it's easy to get confused. So. But yeah, no, we had a blast at Smoky Mountain Terror. And yeah, thank you for meeting us and sending us that story. Oh gosh, yeah, chills. Now, what would you think that might be, Erika?
Well, it seems like she maybe got a tag along. Honestly, the problem with looking at any of these things in the face is a lot of times you invite them. That's enough for them to go, oh, I can come. Cool. I'm coming. So the fact that it was outside of her neighborhood and the fact that she had gone that different way and then thinks she saw it in the hallway, I want to know if it continues, because if it continues, she picked up something and needs to now get rid of it. So yes, that's my thought.
Beau's right. Humans are scared and cryptids. Yeah, it definitely could be humanity or something, but I don't know. The fact that she had dreams about it and all that, that's definitely something odd. I'm curious. Oh, I like it's like the creepers and it follows. Good call, Sarah.
So. That's my whole entire point, Sarah. Here's the thing. I think if somebody is stalking you in general and means you harm, they're not going to just be in your hallway and disappear. The other thing is, if somebody is going to follow you somewhere, unless they already know where you live, they have to follow you. And with the paranoia she was experiencing, she would have seen them coming, right?
I like the spidey sense tingling. Yeah, that's always, you get that hairs on the neck, you get that sense of dread. Yeah, take care. And you did the right things. You did all the right things. I like Stephanie, just do some smudging. That's good. Yeah. All right.
Absolutely. Okay.
All right, Erika, your turn. That one starts off with a bang. Oh my gosh.
Okay. Let's see if I can do wording today. Here we go. Okay. I've got a tale to tell that it's simply insane. I already don't like this. Okay, here we go. When I was younger, I used to go to swimming in a pool at an old hotel in Sanford. It had been converted to a home for missionaries. The hotel was super haunted. I became friends with the missionary kids that would stay there from time to time, and they would tell all sorts of stories. My family were friends of the church, so we could come over and use the pool all the time. Gets super hot in Florida in the summer. I can agree with that. It does.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I use the pool way more often than anyone. It isn't about those ghosts, though. I remember distinctly that I was 10 years old as we had gone to the movies that day and saw Gremlins. I was remembering the water scene with all the bubbles intensely. I decided I didn't want to be in the pool alone anymore. I got up and went to look over at the nearby bank of Lake Monroe. I know the lake has more alligators than anywhere around, but I like to go close to it. Okay, well that's where you had me. I was out of there, close to alligators. No. Okay.
Oh, that is a big alligator lake. I know that area well. I think I know what hotel he's talking about too.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say every lake in Florida is an alligator lake. So okay.
True.
There are so many boats there as well. On this day, there was a flurry of people at the lakefront as they were looking at a giant dolphin tail splashing in the water. Dolphins never get this far inland, and everyone was shocked. It was an albino and pink colored. Ooh.
Hey.
The people shouting and pointing thought it must be coming here and meant that for sure it was in distress and going to die. It would have had to make a long way through St. John's River and more. It went under the water at one point, and we all waited what seemed like forever to see if it would resurface again. The police showed up because someone had called them about a distressed dolphin. They said help was on the way and for us to leave. I had to follow the lake road around home anyway, so I kept my eye on the water. I know this is rambling, but it's easier voice messaging than typing. I turned the corner and I swear I saw the pink dolphin swimming just under the water right next to the sidewalk. I looked closer and saw that it wasn't a dolphin. It had the head of a camel and the horns on top of its head. It had deep black eyes like a dolphin, but its nose was much wider and shorter. It also had a long neck. I couldn't see much more than that because it dove down when I got close. The tail was like a dolphin tail and again bright pink, like Barbie pink. It was not a manatee. I've seen many manatees, but this had a long neck and manatees have none. I kept my eyes on the water for hours until it started to get dark, but I didn't see it again. I told my parents and they told me they'd probably seen a seal or a weird alligator. I never saw it again until I picked up a copy of Eerie, Florida last year at the bookstore.
Hey.
Just got the heebie. I know what this is now.
I know exactly what this is.
Yeah. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw the illustration of Pinky, the St. John's River monster. It was pretty close to what I saw. I never heard of it. I'm pretty sure that's what I saw. The horns were more pointed and the neck wasn't quite as long. I wish I could show it to my parents, but they passed away. I'm just happy to see other people had seen it. I thought I was crazy. I looked you up to email you and found the podcast. Such fun. Have there been any recent sightings of Pinky? I hope you can add my story to your sightings as confirmation that Pinky is a real thing. I'm certain I didn't imagine it. Ron. Okay, I just want to point out the goosebumps, but anyway. So, Mark, recent sightings of Pinky.
This is probably the most recent. The last ones I had were from probably the late 1970s. Although I do believe 1980s, which would have been Gremlin's time, that was the one where they saw the pink blob on the shore that might have been Pinky's carcass, but it was never, documented or anything. It was just one of those sea blobs.
River monster story now ends in Pinky's death. That's no way to kick off this.
I don't want to start with that, but I'm so happy that my lovely wife Carrie is the illustrator of those. She drew Pinky from basically people telling her what she saw, and that sounds like you saw it too. So
yeah, isn't this Pinky at the bottom of our little screen?
That's Pinky down there. Look at that. Perfect. I didn't even know that.
Pinky's adorbs. Adorbs.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you liked the book, Eerie, Florida, and I'm glad it tied in. That's crazy.
Well, Ron, thank you. And no, you're not crazy. Several people have seen whatever this was. We're not sure it's around anymore.
There's a reason his story's in the book. There's a reason he's talked about quite a bit. He's in Weird Florida. He's in a lot of other books. You can find him. And Pinky's around, and it sounds like you just added to the list. That's awesome. Yay!
Yay! Okay, Mark, you're up next, my friend.
All right. I think I have a ghost in my computer. Don't we all?
I do every day. It's called Google.
I know this sounds crazy, but hear me out.
Okay.
Every time I come home, my computer is on, whether I turned it off or not. I think there are sounds coming out of it at times when I have nothing running. It will suddenly turn off while I'm watching things on YouTube. I thought it might be a virus or something, so I took it to Best Buy. They didn't find anything wrong and only told me I needed a new laptop, of course. The reason I think it's a ghost is because the second I got it home, it opened up a web page about a cemetery near my house that I'd never heard of. What do you think, Leon?
Ooh, Leon.
Hi, Leon. Well, I think you've been hacked. Honestly, it sounds like you've got something that might be turning your computer off and on, all that. I'm not sure.
Well, I don't know why Mark is super practical today.
I'm not always like that.
You are horrible.
Yeah.
So this is what I'd say, Leon. Why don't you look up the cemetery and see what's there? And it would be interesting, possibly, to go to a metaphysical shop near you and something, or find somebody that could help you out, that may be able, like a medium, to discern what they're trying to say, because maybe they are trying to say something to you and it hasn't worked. When I hear stories like this, I often think of the Supernatural episode where Bobby was first getting his powers and super trying to like do things, and it was exhausting. So when he finally did something, they of course wanted the immediate follow-up, and he was like,
Yeah. I honestly, Leon, it sounds like that it could be something simple, but I like Erika's idea there. Check out the cemetery, see what it's doing. We've got the weird stuff going on here where the books keep getting left out, so I just add them to my to be read pile. So
yeah, exactly. So Mr. Mark, negative Mark. But Leon, thank you for your story.
Yeah. No, thank you, Leon. Thank you.
Yeah.
So
keep us updated if you go to the cemetery. I want to know what happens. I feel like this is part 1 of a saga. I need to know.
Okay. It could be. It could be. Oh my gosh. That's a little wild.
Here we go. Man. Next one.
All right. So let's see. Okay. Hi, Mark. Hi.
Mark, it's my turn.
Oh, it is your turn. Okay. Sorry, I forgot.
But now you started. Excited. I'm let you go.
I saw the email was to me.
Yeah. No, I'm doing 2 in a row. You go ahead.
All right. So, hi, Mark. Hi. I wrote to you a few years ago about some ghosts I had encountered on Amelia Island in the old jail. You interviewed me a few weeks later over the phone. I was tempted to call again because something strange is going on with a good friend of mine. I'm emailing you in hopes you can give me some advice. I'm not giving her name as she hasn't given me permission yet. She did say I could give you the details of what's been happening. It started a few months ago when she brought home a new dog. The animal has been overprotective of her to the point where she is afraid she might have to give it up. She says it constantly growls at shadows and corners in her house when no one is at. When she has visitors, the dog is fine with them. He's been great with me. There are times, though, when he goes on high alert and starts growling at the hallway or a corner of the room. I brought over my EMF reader and I don't see any spikes. I also don't see any temperature changes on my laser thermometer. I am not an active ghost hunter, though. The only other issue she has had is that some of her lights have started flickering at odd intervals, like brownouts, but the rest of her condo building doesn't seem to be having any issues. It's not that old of a building, so I don't think it's wiring. Here's the address. If you can look up any history on the area, let me know what you come up with. So I removed the address there. And that's from Roger. Now, Roger sent me this to my old Eerie, Florida address. Yeah, Roger, I did some looking into that one. And that condo building is in a kind of an area that was once part of the pirate lands of Amelia Island. So Luke Ori and his people had encampments there and all that. I don't know if there's anything particular there, but I did like Stephanie's comment there. Time for spirit cleansing and don't get rid of the dog. Yes.
No, first of all, heebie-jeebies. Okay. But I agree with Stephanie 1,000%. You need to do a cleansing. And I would bet this dog is perceiving something. What it is, I have no idea, preternatural, but it's perceiving something in that house, because generally, if a dog's going to do that, not that I'm a complete dog expert, but if a dog's going to be very protective of you, they tend to be protective of you all the time. It doesn't matter who the person is. They're like I would not get rid of that dog. I would do a cleansing. I would get some crystals. I would do many, many things before I got rid of that dog.
Agreed. I don't think I see anything too untoward there. Just be safe. That's all I can say. Stay safe.
Well, thank you, Roger, for Mark, since you didn't write it to me. I see how it is. It's fine. I'm moving on. Okay, here we go. Next, we are staying at Dobbin's house, B&B in Gettysburg with my sister and her husband. My brother-in-law remarked about the bakery across the street. He really liked donuts. Anyway, We had a big, beautiful room with double doors, and they had a trundle bed across the hall. Both rooms were in front of the house. The next morning, very early, I woke up and I was just looking around the room, assuming I was the first one to wake up. Then I heard the front door open and someone walking past our rooms towards the back kitchen. I thought, oh boy, Barry went out for donuts already. I got up and looked out, but they were still asleep, as was my husband. Who's walking through our house with boots on that early? Rena. Oh, goosebumps. You are in Gettysburg, my friend. There is a litany of paranormal activity in that area, and I'm willing to bet money if we look that up, that place is haunted.
The Dobbin House is one of the hot spots. Yeah. I stayed in oh gosh, what's it called? It was the old country store there, and I wound up staying there. It's turned into a kind of just a camping place now, and any place in that area is crazy. We are going to be doing a big Gettysburg deep dive, actually recording it this week. So that's very appropriate that we got this one.
And I don't love that Stephanie got super sick there. Don't love
that. No, that happens though. It's but there's so many people died there. People I don't think understand the scale of that. No. 7 million bullets fired in just a few days.
No, there's a lot. And maybe they were bringing in the logs for the morning fire, Yeah.
And I agree. I think donuts, I'd be thinking about donuts all the time too. So
Mark would live for going across the street to get donuts. He wouldn't care if a ghost was walking past him. He'd be like, I need to go get the donuts.
I'd be like, do you want some donuts too, ghost? I'm going. I'll get you some. It's all good.
Okay. Thank you. Renee. I think it's Renee. Yeah. Is it Renee?
Renee or Rena? I don't know. I'm not sure. Well, we're sorry. We're terrible at pronouncing names. Feel free to send us audio things.
Yeah.
And Beau's comment, go through a flood of ghosts for a donut. Yes.
Yeah. What about a werewolf? She would go through a flood of donuts for a werewolf. Beau would. True. So there we go.
All right.
Okay. I get the next one too, because you doubled up.
I did 2 in a row. This is all you.
Your episode on the Hodag and Lumberjacks awakened a core memory of mine. Ooh, okay. I live on the Pacific coast right at the California border to Oregon. I've been in the woods my whole life. When I was younger, my friends and I would go riding till way past dark along the roads that take us through the Siskiyou Mountains. Am I saying that correctly? Siskiyou Mountains?
I think so.
Okay. If not, I greatly apologize. Hooked on phonics. Here we go. We were riding when my friend Abigail starts saying she sees Batman on top of the mountain looking at us. We all stopped and looked. I'd be down for seeing Batman, but no. We all stopped and looked up where she was pointing. Sure enough, there was a very large, dark figure looking like he was wearing a cape on top of the mountain beside us. The sun was behind him, so he looked like a big shadow. I thought he looked more like a shadow Superman, but that's the nerd in me. I appreciate the nerd in you. Okay. It was then we saw 2 more shadow people just sort of appear next to him. If I had known about the Hat Man then, I would have realized what I was looking at. Whoa! Whoa! Every fiber of me. Ooh,
there you go.
I'm like actually cold now.
Oh.
Okay. I looked like, I can say this, I promise. It looked like people in wide hats and cloaks. Our friend Johnny was from Mexico, and he said they were ghosts called the Night People, and that we had to get away fast. Oh, still cold here. Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't have to tell us twice, and we booked it out of there. We never took that road again and always stayed away from the mountains if we could. I've been a mountain girl my whole life since. I go hunting and camping all over the world, but I tend to avoid that area by nature, even though if it's close to home. I've slept in Ape Canyon on a Sasquatch hunt, but I didn't have any luck. I had suppressed that memory for years. I never thought about it. It wasn't until you mentioned the Dark Watchers that it all came back to me. I am freezing over here from my goosebumps. Okay, now I've reached out to my old friends, and only Abigail remembers when we saw them. She's coming to visit next year, and I hope to get the courage to go try that road again. I'll let you know what I see, and I'll sure to document it. Thanks for all the stories and travels. If you use this one, can you give out a shout out to my friend Patty, who introduced me to your show, Cassie? Well, Cassie, and thank you, Patty, for introducing her to us.
And wow.
Yeah, there is a tremendous, Sarah, there is more nope than I can even explain in that story. The end, Cassie, where you're like, I'm going to go. And I'm like, what? Look at the look on my face. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's
terrible idea. But Mark would be with you going to look at the Hat Man.
I'm packed.
No.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is The Dark Watchers was one of those. That's one of those stories, Pacific Northwest. That's just, it's so many people have seen it for so many decades, years. There is more there than wow. That's a lot.
Cassie, you and your friends, first of all, are brave. I think it's very interesting when it comes to trauma too. This is a whole thing we're not unpacking on this show right now. But these kind of incidents, it's interesting that we pack them away. And it's always interesting to me when, a car running. There's no waiting in the car. No, I'm going to go. I'm not staying, Beau. But I think it's interesting that when you hear another story, it can like trigger that memory.
Yeah.
That's bizarre. Okay.
All right. I think I'll do one more and then we'll take a quick, we'll do our pretend break. You guys will
I think we actually, legally have to do our pretend break right now. So let's just say we're on a break.
Okay, we're saying we're on break. All right. But now since we're doing this live, we're not actually going on break. So, but when this airs as the audio podcast a little while later, there'll be a break here. So listen to our sponsors. The sweltering heat of the Florida sun breaks as a chill runs down your spine. A dark shadow looms from a nearby tourist trap. You didn't expect to find this kind of shade in Florida. If only there was some sort of travel guide to steer you through the spookier locales. Well, you're in luck, reader. Join author Mark Muncy and Carrie Schultz as they lead you through the darkest locations in the Sunshine State in creepy Florida. Available from History Press and at fine bookstores everywhere.
Prepare to be devoured. The Wolves of Wharton is a 6-part complete book series by Eerie Travel's producer, Beau Lake. It has been called dark and visceral, steamy, dramatic, and a fresh take on the werewolf mythos. If you like action, adventure, a large serving of body horror, and some steamy relations, the Wolves of Wharton series is for you. Pick it up wherever books are sold or at linktree.com/Beau__Lake.
Okay, that was cool.
That was great. I hope you enjoyed our sponsors.
Yes. Okay. It's just okay. The producer behind the scenes is like, do it now. Okay, Mark, all you. I'm done with I'm still got goosebumps. So
okay. All right. You're still recovering from that one. So
I am.
All right.
Wow.
Okay. Let's see. Hello. Oh, hello.
Hello.
First off, I come from the universe where the Challenger disaster happened in '86.
We're not from the same universe, my friend.
Well, I would be really curious as to whether you had a lot of disagreement on the 84-86 issue you discussed in a recent episode, and if the Mandela effect is in, well, full effect. Yeah, we did have a little bit of feedback on that, but that'll be in a future listener questions episode. But that Mandela effect episode, we had a lot of feedback on, so please catch up on that if you haven't, because it's fun. Dolly had braces. All right, anyway, catching up on episodes, I came across the one where you talked about glitches in the Matrix and problems with GPSs. It reminded me of this story my sister used to tell, but doesn't tell anymore. Unlike me, who's unfortunately not sensitive to the extended world around me, my sister is extremely sensitive, and it just makes her tired. She reminds me of the grandfather from Lost Boys, but with haints instead of vampires. Yeah, can't stand all the haints. This happened about 30 years ago, way before GPSs. My sister and her husband used to Sunday drive up into the South Carolina, North Carolina mountains. They just wander around a road atlas in hand and find their way back down when they were ready to come home. This one time, they got themselves good and lost, and before they knew it, darkness had fallen. They had come across a backwoods gas station and asked for directions. The old man at the counter gave them good directions that would eventually get them back to the roads they recognized. But as they were leaving, he turned into a horror movie cliche and said, "Y'all be careful, and no matter what happens, no matter what you see, don't you stop for nothing." Oh, there you go.
No.
Erika would have been done right then. She'd be like, "We're stopped now. We're done.
We're staying here till daylight. We're going to stay behind the counter. You got a gun here. I'm good."
With nervous thanks, my sister and her husband got back into the car and headed home. As they drove away from the gas station on whatever back road they were on, they saw fast-moving, whitish humanoid figures in the trees on both sides, keeping pace with the car. It was always in the edge of the headlight, so they could never get a good look beyond knowing that something was out there. Her husband tried speeding up, terrible idea on mountain roads, but the figures kept up, and he quickly slowed down a little for safety's sake. Finally, they drove far enough that for whatever reason, the figures stopped following. They got home safe and sound, but this definitely limited their mountain wandering for a while. A little anticlimactic, perhaps, but that story always weirded me out. Andrew.
Well, thank you, Andrew. And that's how I want the story to end.
Yeah, I don't want anybody hurt.
I don't want it to end with, well, and they were never seen from again. Like,
how else would you get the story? We got to get the story. Somebody's got to make it through. So white, lanky shapes.
Humanoids?
Keeping up with the car just out of the headlights. North Carolina, South Carolina border. That's definitely ghosty area, Cherokee area. So that could be a lot of things. Oh my gosh. It almost sounds like Wampus Cat like, but it too humanoid. I don't know.
I'm going with Faye. That's what I'm going with.
That's just fair assumption.
Going with Faye because I would almost think it was a white thing, but the way they were moving, I don't think so. Because not that they're not fast, but they're not that fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no. Nope. Absolutely not.
There you go, Stephanie. Albino Mothman.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew, that was great. Thank you. It was not anticlimactic. So hopefully your sister has more stories later. But tell us any you want, people. So
yes.
All right, Erika. I think this one's for you.
It is. Here we go. I'm excited with how this starts. Holy shit balls, Erika. I don't know who you are, but I love you already. You were right about burning the place to the ground. Yes. I am correct about this, whomever you are. Who are you? You are Rebecca. Okay, Rebecca, let's do this. I lived in an old apartment building in Virginia, just outside of DC. The building used to be a hospital for the Army and was even built on the site of an older Civil War era building. Oh, there are so many things wrong with that sentence. Anyway, it was ripe to be super haunted. I moved there after a bad breakup and it was cheap. I had not even been there a full month when I started hearing voices all around my room at night. No. I thought it had to be paper-thin walls and bad neighbors. There was not any screaming or anything like that, but it was scary levels of loud. I couldn't make out the exact words. It was like listening to music underwater. I could tell there were words and voices, but I just couldn't make it out. I started taking sleeping pills and plugged in earplugs to get sleep. It helped for a while. I was able to work and function. I felt very worn down and drained, though. It was maybe the pills, but what else am I supposed to do? Move and burn it down. Anyway, okay. I got a new boyfriend, and he would come over occasionally. He didn't like it much and tried to get me to come over and spend nights at his place more often. When I did, I slept much better and didn't need the pills as much. Maybe it was the sex. Laugh out loud. Oh, Rebecca, I love you. You're my spirit animal. Okay. When I would go home, I'd get this dark sense of dread and feel like shit again. I thought I was depressed. I also told myself it's because my apartment is cheap and terrible. He had like 4 roommates, so their place was nice, but very crowded. While it was better than my place, we had trouble being able to be just us. So we started trying to look for a place together. I think the apartment knew I was leaving, so it started doing things to keep me trapped. I got very sick with a flu bug and could barely get out of bed. This was decades before COVID, but it felt the same as when I got that. Then I would miss calls from him. He thought I was ghosting him, but I never got the calls. My cell phone never rang and I would miss tons of texts. I don't like flus. Okay. I think it was trying to keep us from seeing each other or talking, and I think it wanted me to be stuck there. Mark would say I should have seen this coming, but I saw dark figures at night in my room. I again thought it was the pills in my mind playing tricks. The voices were back and things were escalating. My boyfriend came over to bring me soup, and he said I never answered the door. He said he knocked so loud the neighbors called the cops on him. I never heard the door and I wasn't even asleep. I was sitting wrapped in the living room and reading. I never heard a sound. When I called him, he said he was done and going to break up with me since I had asked him to come over and I didn't answer the door. He thought I was cheating on him or at least playing games with him. I began to cry and he came back over. When I tried to let him in, it was as if someone was pulling on the door and wouldn't let me open it. He and I pulled and pulled on the door until it finally let him in. We both heard a growl come from nowhere. It sounded like a fucking wolf. Oh my, this.
Nah.
No. Oh my gosh, I'm freaked out. Okay. That was it. I decided then and there to leave with him. We left and I didn't even grab my things. We went to his place and I only went back in the daylight to get my shit and get out of there. I moved in with him that day. Unfortunately, we didn't stay together for more than a couple months, but then I felt much better about myself and my life. I got a better job and was able to move out on my own. I also found out I was a descendant from witches from my grandmother who hadn't talked to me in years. I'm learning now how to gain my own power and manifest good things in my life. I have a great boyfriend and girlfriend. Awesome. We are poly and live in a nice place near Eli's retro game store. Yay, shout out to Eli.
There's Eli, yeah.
I'm hoping to get the courage to introduce myself to her as a fan of you all. I was so surprised to hear her on your show, manifesting things. Erika, I'm happy to tell you the old building was torn down after being nearly destroyed in a fire and is now being rebuilt as a car dealer. I went by the lot and felt the heat on my cheek like something was breathing fire. I left and said, not today. I know this was long, but I'm so glad I found your show. I listened to every new episode on the way to work and back. Tell Beau to talk more as she has a sexy voice on her commercial. I'll see you on the other side, Rebecca.
Oh, man.
Oh, Rebecca, I love that story so much.
Beau, you should unmute and come on for a second.
I didn't realize anyone thought I had a sexy voice. Wow, that's so nice.
Hey, Beau, do you have the stories pulled up? Can you read the next one in your sexy voice?
Yeah.
I don't have them pulled up, though.
You're busy doing behind the scenes clacking.
I'm doing behind the scenes stuff. I'm clacking.
Okay, right, you go clackety clack, but Rebecca, we will get Beau to talk a little more because I agree she does have a sexy voice. And thank you. Yes,
Beau, just say steamy relations real quick.
Steamy relations.
There you go. That's the one that gets them. So we've gotten at least a couple emails about that. So
I was gonna say, Rebecca, one of the things too, you may want to just, whenever that car dealership is built, maybe just drop a few crystals around the outside of it and just keep whatever it is contained within it.
Yeah. We did have somebody at Small Town Monsters pick up some of our iron spikes. So that was actually something to do. We just collect some iron railroad spikes and put them somewhere safe, protect your property.
Agreed.
Salt it.
Yep. Salt it. I agree, Steph. Salt it. Man.
All right.
Okay, Mark, we've only got a few more. Let's do this.
All right. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Thank you guys so much for these. This is crazy. Greetings, travelers.
Greetings.
I was out running last Tuesday morning and listening to you all. I got a call on my phone from my mother about her seeing a UFO over our house. I wasn't so far, so I turned around, and sure enough, I saw a giant black triangle with weird blue lights all around the edges. It was hanging in the sky just over the hill where my house is. I was like, this is crazy. I went to pull out my phone to take a picture, but it went from floating to zipping away in a second. The thing had to be like half a mile across. It was so big, but it moved so fast. I don't know how to report this to anybody, so I messaged you. Mom is now saying we both imagined it. We are in Central Ohio, so I know we are near the Air Force Base. This was June 2nd at 8:15 a.m. in Dublin. Simon.
Well, hello, Simon.
Hello, Simon. Once you send me this, I put it to the MUFON database and sent it to Ohio UFO database. So it's been reported. So reporting to me worked. It's documented. There were other sightings that night in the area. And this is similar to that TRB3 or the TR8 that we've heard rumors about. That's a government craft, but it could be.
It's not that big, though, is it?
It can't. Some of the sightings of it are huge. So we'll see.
Okay.
I don't know. Half a mile across is way big, though. So
yeah.
I don't know, Simon. You saw something that you can't explain. That's our definition of preternatural. We saw something we can't explain yet. Hopefully someday we can. Not crazy.
No, not at all. But yeah, no, we'll report. Okay, here we go. Mark and Erika! Exclamation mark. I'm going to say hello to that because I don't know how to reply. Greetings, traveler. There. Yeah. Did I do that with
with exclamation? You could even pronounce that in all caps. I was impressed.
Yes. Okay. I think I was talked to by then Men in Black. I'm shaking and I had to email right now. Ooh. Okay. Ooh. I'm driving along the highway by my house and I thought I saw a strange set of lights in the sky. I noted to myself to look up and see if it's Starlink had done a launch because I know to do that after listening to you all. Thank you for that because we do often say that to people. We hate telling people that, but we do. Okay. On my way home, my son called, so I talked to him about what I had seen. He said he didn't have any reports of Starlink launches today. I got home, brought in my groceries, I went back into my car where there's an older Asian man in a black suit and a weird hat outside. He was standing by my car. I said hello. He said, "You should be careful about leaving your car open. Anybody could come by and rob it." I thanked him for his concern, and then he said something about how pretty the stars were tonight, that there was some sort of conjunction, and I should take some time to look at the sky as it might be weird. Then I got freaked when he said the next phrase that I will never forget. "A lot of people are going to think there are UFOs tonight. Too bad most people will think they're crazy." He smiled and then walked away without another word. Whoa! It was like I have to tell Eerie Travels. I was like, I have to tell Eerie Travels. Janet, we love you. And I have got the heebie-jeebies because that's exactly what it sounds like she just encountered. Mark?
Yeah, Beau and I are flipping out here because when we were at an event, we thought we had a man in black encounter, and he looked like an older Asian man with a weird hat. And wow. Yeah, that sounds classic MIB encounter right there. Holy crud.
Yeah, no, Janet, thank you for emailing.
Yeah, Janet, I just stay safe. I think you're good.
But that sounds like exactly what that was.
And
what we understand of what the Men in Black supposedly are. Mark, read the next one and maybe I'll be less heebie-jeebied.
Okay, let's see. I saw a flying lizard near Auburndale Speedway as we drove by the other night. Whoa, that's the way to start a story. I
Wow.
swore it looked like a dinosaur, but when we looked closer, it had long bat wings and a snake body. It looked like it was on fire as it was glowing in the sky. My daughter was convinced it was a phoenix. It flew very fast into the sky. I tried to get a picture, but it was too far away and it only looks like a blurry light. Where should I send it to see if they can enhance it? Anyways, this was Memorial Day in the evening around 9 p.m. I've seen a couple of Bigfoot in my life. I'll have to write in about those when I have time to think about them and remember them better. Jorge.
Wow, Jorge.
Well,
You should send us that picture to start. I don't know
yeah,
where to
I
send
would.
it, but I wanted a dragon, so there we go, manifesting.
Yep.
Cool. A phoenix dragon. I like that. We were talking about this flying snake the other day. I know we were talking about dragons.
Well, snallygasters like that. The Quetzalcoatl. There's a Q, the flying serpent. There's a bunch of other things like that that are out there, flying snakes and history and all that. And we are due for Snally. Snally supposedly appears every 30 years. So we're overdue.
That is an understatement. And yay! I love that. I love it.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Jorge. Okay, here we go.
All right. Nice big long one here for you, Erika. I think we got about 3 left. So
yeah, we'll just do them because we love our crowd. Here we
love
go.
them. And you guys are all chatting away. So thanks so much for sharing this, guys.
Yes, and don't forget to share with other friends, as our friend Patty did earlier with Cassie, because that is how
happy to have more travelers.
Yes, find us and add to our traveling adventures. Here we go. Hi, travelers. Well, hello. Hi. I'm a retired Methodist minister, and I help many of my parishioners over the years. I'm not a firm believer in the spirit world, but I've seen enough unusual phenomenon over the years to not be blind to it either. I have a tale to tell you, though. I already don't like where this is going. I don't even know where it's going, but my body does, apparently. So here we go. Perhaps you might know more of what I've experienced. I was told this tale by a few members of my congregation. In the rolling hills of Appalachia, where there are whispers of the past mingled with the prayers of the present, there lived a Methodist minister named Reverend Thomas. He was a man of unwavering faith, known throughout the county for his fiery sermons and his steadfast belief in the good book. But there was one thing that had troubled the good Reverend: the tales of a trickster spirit the locals called Old Scratch.
Yeah.
The stories were as varied as the leaves on trees. One of the more outlandish was the last. They spoke of a spirit that could take the form of a fox, a whirlwind, or even a man, leading the unwary astray with promises of gold and glory. The Reverend dismissed these tales as nothing more than superstition, remnants of old ways, and that no place in the light of the Lord. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky shades of fire, Reverend Thomas set out to prove once and for all Old Scratch was nothing but a figment of the imagination. He walked the paths where the spirit was said to roam, Bible in hand, ready to confront the phantom. As night fell, the stars blinked awake, and a figure appeared on the path ahead. It was a man, or so it seemed, dressed in a coat of many colors, with a smile and that held a hint of mischief. Good evening, Reverend, the stranger said. His voice was smooth as molasses. What brings you out on a fine night like this? The stranger's eyes twinkled like the stars above. Reverend Thomas squared his shoulders and met the man's gaze. I'm here to dispel the myths of Old Scratch, to show my flock that there is no power greater than the Almighty, he declared. The stranger chuckled, the sound that seemed to dance with the rustling leaves. Is that so, and how do you plan to do that, Reverend? With a firm voice, the Reverend replied, by the authority of Scriptures, I command any spirit that lingers here to reveal itself and depart in peace. The air grew still, and for a moment it seemed the very forest held its breath. Then, with a sudden gust, the stranger vanished, leaving only behind a whisper, Seek and ye shall find, Reverend. Yeah. Okay. Shaken but undeterred, Reverend Thomas continued his vigil into the first light of dawn crept over the mountains. Though he encountered no further signs of the trickster spirit, the Reverend could not shake the feeling that he'd been tested and that his faith weighed in the balance. In the weeks that followed, the tales of Old Scratch began to fade, replaced by stories of the Reverend's encounter. Some said it was proof the spirit was real, while others claimed it was a sign of the Reverend's steadfast faith. But for Reverend Thomas, it was a reminder that there are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamt by our philosophy, and that sometimes the greatest test to our belief is the willing to question it. That story I was told, I thought nothing more than local folklore. I couldn't find any record of Reverend Thomas in my local church for the last 200 years. So a few months back, I was walking my dog one night, and sure enough, I see a man on the side of the road I didn't recognize. This area isn't big, and strangers are few and far between. I went over to see if I could introduce myself. The man looked at me and said something like he could smell the stink of God upon me. Then he ran away, and I swear he simply vanished after about 10 yards. Just one brief second and vanished from my sight. I'm not one to tell tall tales myself. I thought I would share with you all. I know Old Scratch is an Appalachian name for the devil, but I think this was something else. Any ideas, Eric? Oh, there's so much to unpack there. First of all, Eric, you are an epic storyteller.
Yeah, I was saying, not one to tell tall tales. That was a great tall tale at the start there. That sounded like right out of the Applejack stories there. That's crazy awesome. I love that.
So have you heard of Old Scratch before?
That's a common name. Like you said, it's the common name for the devil out here. That's just his Old Scratch will come get you. And it's just an old nickname for him. That's from like the 1700s. We need Val on here to discuss where that origins come from. But yeah, I've heard tales of that. I don't think I've ever heard of Reverend Thomas versus Old Scratch. I'm going to have to look that one up and see where that's from. But
yeah, we'll have Beau, since she's clickety clacking back there, write that down. We'll look into it. But it sounds like things like this to me always sound like fae, because
exactly, trickster stuff like that. Like you said, it's a trickster spirit, very much similar to that. And they do tend to take the names of things that make them sound more important and scarier than they are. That's just the way it works. So, man.
Yeah. No.
But then you had something appear similar story to that story, and it was just a little while after that. So,
well, and I think the thing is, we talk about this a lot, right? But there is something to be said for intentions and opening the door even slightly to things. I firmly believe you open the door slightly, you can then have the opportunity, potential to perceive something that maybe you would have discounted. Because, one of the other stories talked about how he wasn't very perceptive, but his sister is. And there are some people we hear that are very sensitive to things. And then there are people that are not, who will go, oh yeah, no, that never happened. But this books keep appearing in front of my door, for instance, in your case, right? These books always get knocked on the floor from no place they could get knocked down from, because there's no bookshelf near there. So I don't know. It's very much perception. But Eric, it'll be interesting to see if you run into this particular creature again, because obviously, though, whatever happened to it in the past, it does not want God's stink on you if you're going to interact with it.
This is wild and weird. Definitely crazy. I love it.
Okay,
Not
Mark,
crazy,
you have one,
amazing.
and then I have the final one. So
you get the final story. All right. So, well, here we go. Next to last, gang. Thanks for sticking with us. So, all right. I live in North Carolina, but had something I wanted to share in regards to West Virginia. My wife and I have a huge Bigfoot decal on the back of our minivan, and it certainly gets a lot of attention. LOL. I was headed to a
Did you write this story yourself? Is this?
I was headed to a flea market. I had recently found out about, check for some Bigfoot yard decorations. We had stopped off to get the kids some snacks. A gentleman walked by in the parking lot to admire the decal, and we started chatting. He grew up in West Virginia and sometime in the 70s had an encounter. He was sitting around a campfire with his family one night at his grandparents' house. Something began to throw rocks into the fire from the wood line. At first, they thought it was one of the cousins, brothers, or sisters playing a prank. They realized rather quickly that everyone was accounted for at the campfire, and they instantly was spooked. Immediately after, they spotted some really blue colored eye glow coming from within the forest, and it was at least 7 foot or maybe higher off the ground. Needless to say, they all hightailed it inside the house. They explained to the grandmother what had just took place and about the color of this thing's eyes. She didn't act surprised at all and referred to it as Old Blue Eyes, or the Blue-Eyed Booger, the Frank Sinatra of Bigfoot. Just kidding, just kidding. It was an intriguing account, and I was just curious if any West Virginia researchers or Bigfoot folk had heard anything about a blue-eyed Bigfoot before. I think I may have heard a story or two about the blue-eyed glow in the past, but not from West Virginia. As far as I know, it's not really a common theme. Clint. Well, Clint,
Wow.
Old Blue Eyes, you're right. The Frank Sinatra of Bigfoot. Wow. I have heard of the Blue-Eyed Booger, but I didn't think about putting it together with Bigfoot.
Well,
The
now
the
you're
Blue-Eyed
just going to
Booger is
make
a
Mark.
creature from West Virginia. So
Mark's going to go down a clickety-clack rabbit hole.
I'll do a deep dive on that and see what I can find. But blue-eyed Bigfoot, that is uncommon, but not unheard of. They generally are brown, black-eyed.
Well, it's kind of like humans. Humans are generally brown or black-eyed, and then you have ones that have green eyes, even the blue eyes.
Yeah.
And if you're,
Our Mike
Liz
Chameleon
Taylor,
friend, Shadow of Red Eye, yeah, stuff like
Yeah.
that. So
so
yeah, they probably have as many eye colors as we do. So we'll see.
Clint, sounds like you could have found one of the rare ones. And I love that your grandmother was like, oh, yeah, oh, blue eyes. That means she made nice with it. I appreciate it. Okay, travelers, we are on the last story for today. So
Wow.
Here we go. Hey, everyone, new to you all, but I've exhausted all other resources. I think many people should come to us with that as the opening line. Okay, here we go. I recently moved to the mountains, picked for reference on general location, and since moving here, I've had so many unexplained things happen to me and my family. When we first moved in, my husband on multiple occasions had something run at him, and then he went to investigate. There was nothing. He's a hardcore skeptic and now refuses to go outside at night alone. We went on a walk in the woods behind our property and heard something trailing us. We're avid hikers, so we're used to wildlife and know the do's and don'ts. I assumed it was a coyote or wolf, but as soon as we reached our property, we heard it sounded like a dog, then shifted to a duck, and then shifted to an owl. A day after putting our family dog down, I heard a dog crying exactly like my dog cries right outside our door. Checked the tree line from the porch and never found a dog. We've heard howling and screaming. I don't even know how to describe it. I've never heard anything like it. And last night had this happen around 11 at night. No trees touched the house or branches on the roof, and it sounded like it was on our roof. We have a metal roof, and it was loud enough to echo. Any ideas what could be or leads? That would be great. I've asked the locals and been told to a couple of people they have things like that happen, and one guy was convinced he had a skinwalker. Kelsey. Well, Kelsey, first of all, thank you for seriously freaking me out as the last story. Yeah, that happened. My recommendation to you is to get some iron spikes and put them all around your property. Okay. I would also do some intentions, because we don't like using the term skinwalker because those are out west, right?
Navajo mountains. I'm not sure exactly where. I'll have to double check that email again, or that mail again. But it could be out there. But yeah, that's an overused term. So it's a changer of some sort, a shifting creature. So
yeah. So and that's
but it could just be something making noises like it's changing because you didn't see it change. Some of these things like to mimic sounds and that's a common occurrence. So they will talk like, make noises like everything. So that's what you get from your hyenas, will mimic the sounds of other animals to lure you out, so that you come out. If it sounds like your dog's crying, that might be something luring you out to try to find, your dog, your wounded dog or something. I'm sorry that you lost it.
Absolutely. So I would say this is my recommendation. Whatever it is trying to get you to come outside. And if your husband, who's a skeptic, will not go into the woods anymore, it's trying something. And it doesn't sound, most of these things, when they try these things, are not trying to scare it, because it doesn't sound like, we've had some listener tales who've had big feet and stuff that are like, leave. That's not what this sounds like. This sounds like it's trying to get you to come outside. So I would heavily recommend the iron spikes. I would do the iron horseshoe above the door, because believe it or not, that is iron. The other thing you could always do, besides, intention and crystals and stuff, is you could do the pennies thing, because sometimes that tricks them, putting the 13 pennies on the porch. I'm not saying this is a rougarou, but I'm a firm believer of trying all of the things.
Yeah, you're like, was it Benny in the Mummy movie, where he had the necklace with absolutely every possible thing?
That is exactly who I am. Something's gonna work, so I'm gonna keep doing it. But I definitely, I would do something, because whatever this is, it
that
doesn't
sounds like
sound like
the property's got something wanting to interact, and it could be bad. It sounds like it's definitely not got good intentions.
But please, absolutely keep us updated, Kelsey. We want to know what happens. And if you need to, you can reach out to us. We do have the iron spikes on our store, just because people have asked about them. Or you can grab them from us in person at a show if you want to, or you can go find them. We're not saying you have to get them. Ours aren't any kind of special. They're just railroad spikes.
Ours are literally B&O railroad spikes from around our area in the Smoky Mountain. We've got collectors who grab them for us, and we pick them up, and we pass that savings on to you at eerietravels.com.
Yes. That's one way to look at it, yes. But absolutely, I would start there and maybe do a few, just for checking what your property line is. And another thing you might do as well, if you're going to be walking around, I think any kind of protection is good, but have a little iron charm or something. Get your husband an iron keychain. He doesn't have to know what it is.
Yeah, and don't go out alone. That's my one thing. No. Yeah, definitely make sure somebody knows and all that. But thank you all so much. We made it. Thank you, Kelsey, and thank you everyone who sent stories. Oh my gosh, this was just, we had a backlog of a few, so that's why we had to get through these, and I'm so glad we did, because you guys really stepped up. This was amazing, and I'm thrilled that we have a new Pinky sighting to add to the collection, and we've got some UFO sightings. We had Bigfoot. We had everything covered. We even had a Men in Black.
We did. X will be very happy for that, because we love X. X is one of my faves.
Yeah.
And with that, travelers, Mark is going to give you one of his infamous goodbyes. Mark.
All right. So, but yeah, if you too would like to share stories, visit us, eerietravels.com. Hit the little contact us, drop us a line. If you want to reach out on any of our social medias, you can vote for any of those. We're happy to get them, and we will share those out as easy as we can, because we love this. This is where we get these stories. It's what makes it all, and we're all just happy to have you travelers along. We love sharing these stories with our fellow travelers. And if you don't want us to share it, you just want us to comment back to you personally, we'll take those too. We do that. We're happy to help. We can also put you in touch with Bigfoot hunters, UFO hunters, and professional paranormal teams in your area. That's what we love to do. And we were just at Monster Fest. We were just at Bigfoot Festival. We meet all these people, and we can send them to you to help. So that's part of what it is. All that said, thank you so much again. Please listen to the regular podcast. We're so happy y'all enjoyed this live. We're getting a lot of comments about it, so we will be doing more of these in the future. We'll try to keep them on a schedule for everybody. Let us know what's a good day for you and all that. So
you can do that. We're not going to keep them on a schedule. Mark is being nice, but we're good. You will hear from us, though. Live episodes will be coming. It will be exciting. Mark, your takeaway.
Which is one last thing. Thanks to our Patreon members who give a couple bucks a month to keep the show on the road. And thanks to our sponsors for sponsoring us. As always, if you get a chance, please visit them and help out, and we appreciate it. So all that said, my takeaway from all this is really simple. If you're out in the woods at night and you hear some strange noises, or if you're walking along and somebody calls you and says, hey, look up in the sky, there's something there, double check to see if it's Starlink. And if it isn't, then make sure you document it. And then worst case scenario, burn the site to the ground, and run, run, run. And we'll see you on the other side. Thanks so much, gang.